This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
For your information, Congressman Lou Barletta will give his views on political events from 2014 and look ahead to 2015 next. Thanks for spending some precious time in 2014 with us at FYI on New Year's Eve. I'm Ken Cara and welcome to the show. We begin with headlines from FYI News 13 and the Hazleton Standard Speaker. Hazleton police are investigating a home invasion. It happened at 3:20 this morning in the 800 block of West 9th Street in Hazleton. Police report that a Hispanic male forced entry into the rear of a residence and held one of the occupants at gunpoint. The suspect then fled. Police have not said if anything was taken. Anyone with information on the incident or anyone who knows of any leads or witnesses is asked to call the Hazleton Police Department or dial 911. Hazleton police arrested 21-year-old Nelson Rivera Rincon of Hazleton on Tuesday. It was the result of a 2-month-long investigation where detectives purchased over 1,100 bags of heroin from him. He was locked up in the county prison on $100,000 straight bail. The controversial film The Interview will be shown in our area, according to the marquee and the website for the Cinema and Draft House in West Hazleton. The movie's first showing will be this Friday at 5:30 p.m. The film's original release by Sony Pictures was canceled after threats from hackers linked to North Korea. It was later reinstated with some independent theaters showing it on Christmas Day. Hazleton City Council voted 3-2 last night to adopt its 2015 budget. While the $9.28 million spending plan does not raise taxes, it does increase the real estate transfer tax from 0.5% to 1%. It also provides $150,000 for part-time police officers. Mayor Joe Iannuzzi has 10 days to review the budget and decide whether or not to veto it. Congressman Lou Barletta will take his oath of office for the 3rd time next week. FYI's Lisa Sugart sat down with Congressman Lou Barletta to talk about the past and the future.
Pleased to be joined by Congressman Lou Barletta to kind of wrap up the past year and look ahead to 2015. First of all, Congressman, thank you for joining us. What to you were some of the most important and significant issues that Congress either dealt with or didn't deal with in 2014?
Well, there was a lot that Congress didn't deal with, the 386 bills that we passed in the House of Representatives that went over to the Senate that Harry Reid did not bring up for even a vote, even an opportunity to negotiate with each other. The American people didn't like what they saw, and I think what was significant, whether it be the Affordable Care Act or the President's executive action giving amnesty to over 5 million illegal immigrants here in the United States, the American people went to the polls in November and made their voices heard, throwing out many of the Democrats in the Senate and in the House who supported what the President was doing. So, I believe that was a significant turn in a direction that the President wanted to take, wants to take the United States. Another big issue that we dealt with in 2014 was ISIS. And their advance into Iraq and now threatening to come here to the United States and recruiting Americans. That will have, that'll be a story that we're going to talk about in 2015 as well.
Now, you were successful in your search for another term, so you'll be heading back to Washington in January. Tell us what you think now with the Republicans taking control. Do you think things will get accomplished, or will it be just as difficult as it's been in the past?
Well, I think we're going to take another giant step forward. The fact that we will pass these bills, bipartisan bills that Democrats and Republicans have worked on together. We're going to pass them again in the House. They'll go over to the Senate, where the Senate will now have an opportunity that Harry Reid has gone to vote on these bills, and if they don't like it, at least come back with something that we could compromise with. And these bills will now go to the President's desk, which hasn't happened while Harry Reid had control of the Senate. Now that the Republicans are there, these bills will go to the President, and he'll have to either sign them or veto them. And whether or not there's enough votes to override his veto, I don't know. But what you will see is bipartisan legislation, Democrats and Republicans working together to get bills to the President's desk.
I know one of the topics which led you to Congress in the first place, illegal immigration into the United States. You told me that will be foremost on the agenda for 2015, and you will have an important role in dealing with this. So tell us about that.
Yeah, this has been a priority for me since I was mayor and dealt firsthand with the issue, and to be able to come from passing the first law of its kind in the country as the mayor of Hazleton to now sitting at the table and crafting immigration policy for our country, especially in trying to stop the president's amnesty for illegal immigrants, is a long way. It's a big thing for me. I've had a discussion with the Speaker Boehner, to get myself to that table, to be an integral part in crafting legislation that I believe will stop the president from his moving forward with his amnesty. Because what the president wants to do, which is number one, illegal, because presidents can't make laws, only Congress can. But what he wants to do will hurt the American worker. It will hurt immigrants who came to the United States for a better job. They will now have to compete with 5 to 10 million more people for those jobs, and it will also put our country's national security at risk because we won't know who we're granting amnesty to. So to have a special role, a main role in that, is something that I'm looking forward to.
Thank you, Lisa, for that. And coming up next, Lisa Sugar will be back as she wraps up her series on the heroin problem in our area. And later in sports, it's Dave Day. Plus, we'll talk about zombie cougars. You heard me. We'll be right back.
This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
Hey, we're defunking your junk today on FYI News 13, and we're back here at the Sage Exchange. And you know, my brother actually found this old chair, a couple of chairs like this, and someone threw it out. So he said, what the heck, I'll give it to Tamara. She'll do something nice with it, right?
Absolutely.
So this old chair, I'm sure, is familiar. Some people have old chairs laying around, and what do I do with it? Do I give it to the Salvation Army? Can I restore it? Well, there are some answers for you.
Right. All I had to do with these, they're actually really well built.
Okay.
I went to the dollar store and bought a shower curtain.
$1, that's a dollar store item.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got it for $5.
Okay.
I took these off. There's actually little screws under here that will take these off.
Okay, you could see that.
And whoever had these, they did put other
material,
like a plastic tablecloth on it. So what I did is I took all the covers off. Use that fabric.
Okay.
White birch, absolutely love it. It's all over the place, everywhere. And actually,
just make sure it's not someone's property. Don't be cutting down trees on someone's property.
I'm not responsible for any arrests. Enough of my kids. No. White birch is everywhere. There is so much you can do with white birch. I actually, in my bedroom, have a white birch canopy hanging on my ceiling. It's free. Like, go out and get it. So you got to watch, though, because some of it is rotted. You want to get a nice, fresh piece.
Okay. Make sure it's dry.
Yeah, and what I did was I cut it up, whatever size you want to do. You can make tables. You can do whatever you want with it. And that's what I did.
Now, this is neat. Look at the finished product.
Look
how nice.
I actually was going to make a coffee table, a square one, but then when he brought these, I thought, oh, it'd be so cool to make like a bar out of that. So
and the material looks great.
Yeah, what I did was I just measured the height I wanted. Actually had a piece of cut glass from another table that I just used today. But I took these, like I said, I took the bottoms off. I wanted to let that screw out to show you that they just pop right on.
Okay.
You're just going to put the fabric on, and there it is. I got some rolls up at Humboldt
This
Supply.
This would be like a nice kitchen table if you have a little space. And then how would you anchor this down?
You will anchor it. Once I have it in the permanent place, there's little clips that you can put to keep it anchored on. But I just took the twine, make it as wide as you want, as long as you want, whatever.
Nice.
And this is actually a piece of it that you can hollow out, and you'll see these at Christmas time with candles inside.
Okay.
You can also take the white birch and peel the bark off, and you can make some really cool things out of that. So I will have more pictures on my website, on sagetheexchange.com, or on What's the Sense on my Facebook.
All right, we're here every Wednesday on FYI. Join us for some fun projects with Tamara.
Time now for FYI News 13 weather.
Was honestly scared shooting these flags. I don't know why. The wind creeped me out a bit. They were making noise. It was very windy and very cold today. Let's see what tonight has in store. Here's our local forecast from the National Weather Service. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 12, wind chill values as low as 0. That will be the case as well on New Year's Day on the extended forecast. We will get up to 29 degrees, but wind chills will feel as cold as 0 degrees. On Thursday night, increasing clouds, low around 19. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high near 31. Friday night will be partly cloudy. We'll get down to 26. Saturday, snow is likely after 1 p.m., high of 34. Saturday night, rain, snow, and sleet, low around 32. For Sunday, there's a chance of rain and snow showers. We'll get up to 38 degrees. Warm day there. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 19. Well, it's a new year, but you can still go old school with the classic menu at the Pines Eatery and Spirits featuring their legendary barbecue, or you can try something new or do both. That's what I would do. The Pines Eatery and Spirits is located right on Broad Street in downtown Hazleton. We heard this week from 2 local district attorneys about the serious problem of heroin addiction in our area. Tonight, Lisa Sugart has her 3rd and final interview in this 3-part series, and tonight she sits down with Hazleton Police Chief Frank D'Andrea.
Today we're talking with Hazleton Police Chief Frank D'Andrea about the growing problem of heroin, not only right here in our area, but across the entire state and across the entire country. Chief, you see it every day and more and more. How serious, I guess, is this problem of heroin right here in the city of Hazleton?
Heroin has become an epidemic. It saddens me to say that or have to say that, but I think that the community over watching the news, reading the papers, talking to their friends is starting to recognize. Years ago, heroin was a very scary drug that nobody wanted to touch. It was hard to even know somebody who knew somebody who used heroin. Now, somehow it's become not only socially acceptable, but it's the drug of choice. How people can rationalize using a drug once and being addicted for the rest of your life is beyond me. And so I look at the problem, and it's easy for me to say once again, we don't have enough police officers to combat the problem. But I think that's only part of the problem. For us in the city of Hazleton, Luzerne County, the Commonwealth, this entire area, we need to be able to address the large amount of people who are creating the market. And I'm not talking about the dealers. Yes, of course, arrest them all and put them in jail. I have no problem with that. I'm talking about the addiction, the lives that this drug ruins. So somehow I believe we need to figure out a plan to be proactive on getting help and education into the schools to stop the users before they ever start. That to me is going to be key to how we stop it. If we wipe out the market, if nobody wants to buy that drug, nobody's going to be able to sell it. Right now, so many people are buying it that you have drug dealers fighting over who's going to get to sell their drug.
That's despicable. And I guess it snowballs then as well, because those who do not have the money to purchase it are then turning to crime to get the money to purchase the drugs that they're addicted to.
Right. And again, we're living in a totally different age than we used to when we were younger, and or our parents or our grandparents. It's not only Hazleton that's changing, the world is changing. Our access to available information via the internet and smartphone technology, and we carry computers in our pockets now, we call them smartphones. So the ability, the readily accessibility to things such as the criminal underworld, the element, you type in where you can find things, you post things on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and it's amazing the network that people now have. So we have to figure out a way to be able to use that for good and to try to educate and stop. One of these is certainly going to be somehow we need to involve the community with the police department, so that collectively we could figure out a plan on how to police this city, how to police this problem. But the problem We are not going to arrest our way out of this problem. As long as there are people who are willing and wanting to use the drug, there will be a problem, and people will always find a way to sell it. We need to have to dry up the need. Once the need dries up, the source will dry up.
Easier said than done, which I'm sure you know from dealing with it daily. I thank you very much for joining us to talk about this serious issue, and please come back and talk to us often about hopefully how things are progressing and that you're actually doing what you just said and eliminating this problem from the city.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We're moving on FYI, and we're taking our second time out. And when we come right back, it's a jam-packed sportscast with a recap of the Hazleton area basketball team's big win on Tuesday night and commentary on the college football playoff.
This is FYI News 13 Sports.
I was thinking of calling this year's Hazleton area boys basketball team the Cardiac Cougars, but with the current state of pop culture, I'm going with Zombie Cougars because nothing can stop them. Once again, the Big HA was pushed to the brink in the Cougar Holiday Classic, and once again, they came up with an overtime victory, this time a 63-61 win over Shipley School that gave them the tournament championship. Hazleton area's chances looked bleak in the third quarter at the Huey McGeehan Gymnasium. Down by 13 to a talented Shipley team, many were probably ready to call it. Then big number 25 Nolan Janisevich grabbed the defibrillator. Clear! After Janisevich's block, Zach Zukowski hit Dante Biazzi, who sent it back to Z squared, and all of a sudden, a heartbeat. The Cougars weren't buried. In fact, Chris Panzarella buried this three, and Bobby Planutis did his whole Bruce Banner to Incredible Hulk thing, and it all led to this moment. Zukowski, he tied the game at 56, and just like the night before, the Cougar defense held on the other end, and we were headed to overtime. In overtime, the Cougars hit some big shots and free throws and walked away with a nice new plaque. What helped fuel all of this was intense defensive pressure the Cougars put on Shipley.
We just made some plays to end the third quarter that gave us a little bit of life, and then, we cut it to 8. They scored a couple baskets to push it up to 12-13 again. I really thought we were in trouble then, to be honest with you. But we made big shots, and guys made big stops, and John Collado gave us great energy, putting a lot of pressure on the ball. I really didn't think we could press them coming into the game, but I think the press in the end was the reason why we won the championship. I think it gave us some energy, it got some turnovers, it got us scoring a little bit in transition, and it gave us life. We made it a little bit interesting, but I can't speak enough about this team being 5-2 and having the fight and the resolve that they did. Not too many people thought we'd be 5-2 right now, to be honest with you. I was hoping to be 4-3 at least at this point in time, because this group, they fought and worked a lot all summer, but they never were together as an entire group that we have now for various reasons: baseball, this, that, and the other, injuries. And, now that we've been together since November 17th, we've had a chance to really kind of start to carve our identity. And I think, again, it was a defensive win against a team that has a lot of really good players, good athletes, good young players, good program. I'm really pleased with the win.
Totally get zombies don't have a heartbeat, and I said the Cougars did have a heartbeat in this story, but just go with it, people. The Cougars open conference play on Saturday on the road at Dallas. Bobby Planutis was named tournament MVP on Tuesday night. Dave Day is coming up here on FYI, but first, the FYI Standard Speaker scoreboard. The Hazleton area girls basketball team, they won the Carl Truant's Basketball Classic in Punxsutawney by beating the hosts on Tuesday. Mono area and Shenandoah Valley, they swept their way through the Senator Rhodes tournament. Both ended the tournament 2-0. The MMI boys lost the consolation game of the Riverside Holiday Tournament to West Scranton, and in wrestling at the Bethlehem Holiday Classic, Hazleton had 3 fourth-place finishers: Jimmy Hoffman, Carson Kinney, and Derek Spockman. Now let's see what the Standard Speaker sports editor Dave Seaman thinks about the matchups in the first ever college football playoff. Ohio State getting ready to match up with Alabama, and Florida State will play Oregon. Dave, I think it's going to be Alabama and Oregon squaring off for the national championship. Do you still see it that way?
I think that Alabama-Ohio State game can be a lot closer than people think. Alabama's defense was tested against Auburn. Auburn put up a lot of numbers against Alabama. Ohio State's shown they can move the ball on anybody except for Penn State in the second half. So that could be a good matchup for Ohio State. The concern I would have if I'm an Ohio State fan, you're playing a third-string quarterback against Alabama in the Superdome in a pressure-packed game. A little bit different than playing against Michigan at home. So we'll see what happens with Ohio State and Cardale Jones. It should be a good test for him and the Buckeyes, but I think that could be a close game. Florida State, don't discount Florida State. That team is very resilient. They've shown that they could come back the last 2 years where they've been tested, and they've always seemed to come through. So, and Jameis Winston's a seasoned quarterback. Like him or not, he's a talented quarterback.
If it does get to Oregon and Alabama, you think the Ducks can finally get that national championship thereafter?
If they can. I mean, a lot of pressure on Marcus Mariota. I mean, he's done everything that Oregon's asked him to do. Top player in the country, obviously, as the Heisman Trophy winner. Oregon seems due to maybe break through one of these years too, but they got to do it on the field. And against Florida State in a pressure-packed game, we'll see what the Ducks are made of.
All right, so Dave, thank you for joining us. Now, I know we're going to have Dave back as we take a look back locally at the year in sports in 2014.
If you want to go out, then you want to go to Bottlenecks, the place everyone is talking about. You want to go where the food is as good as the atmosphere, where you can find mouth-watering steaks, amazing appetizers, seafood, burgers, wraps, and of course, you want to go for the award-winning wings. Bottlenecks is the perfect place to meet with friends for lunch, dinner, or drinks after work. So if you want to go where everyone is having a good time, you want to go to Bottlenecks.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. One announcement for this evening. The Tamaqua Community Theater is proudly presenting Love is in the Air Cabaret, Saturday, January 17th at 7 p.m. Tickets are just $5 and available for advance purchase. For more information about this event, call 570-668-1192. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Helen Josette Osif of Camp Hill. Mass is Friday at 11 a.m. in the Good Shepherd Church. Friends may call Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. in the church. Sandra E. Allen of Waynesboro. Funeral is Saturday at 1 p.m. from the Harmon Funeral Home. Friends may call Saturday beginning at 11 a.m. Timothy W. Pressler of West Hazelton. Funeral is Saturday at 10 a.m. from the Hillary J. Bonin Funeral Home. Friends may call Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. Lynn A. Paisley of Hometown. Arrangements will be announced by the Stanley E. Anilowski Funeral Home. Antoinette Bowman of Drums. Arrangements will be announced by the Butler Chapel of the Crofton Hughes Funeral Home. Linda T. Humenick of Hazel Township. Funeral is Saturday at 10 a.m. from the Transfiguration Church. Friends may call Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. Arrangements are by the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. Susan Weber of Hazelton. Memorial is January 17th from the Joseph B. Conahan Funeral Home. Jean M. Dolan of Hazelton. Funeral is Friday at 9:30 a.m. from the Joseph B. Conahan Funeral Home. Friends may call Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. Kenneth Meiser. All services are private and under the direction of the Joseph B. Conahan Funeral Home. Joseph R. Pontry of Hazelton. Arrangements will be announced by the Joseph A. Moran Funeral Home. Frank Cost of Freeland. The McHugh Wilczek Funeral Home will announce complete arrangements. And John Stefanik of Freeland. The McHugh Wilczek Funeral Home will announce complete arrangements.
Be safe out there tonight, everyone, and tune in tomorrow for the FYI New Year's special. See you then. Take it easy, everyone.